You've talked about on kind of a more surface level, you've talked about how you expect a lot of young teams to sneak in a possible championship here in Orlando. I wanted to know why you saw an advantage for those teams over, like, say, a Lakers or a Clippers, who under different circumstances in a normal NBA playoff would be clear far and away favorites.
Well, I think just because of the fact that, young players train differently. They train to be ready right now. As you become a seasoned vet, you train to become better as the season goes on. And this feels more like an AAU tournament than it does the continuation of the season. And I think the young guys, some of these guys are only 2 or 3 years removed from, they're saying, oh, this is an unusual environment. But an AAU tournament like this, being there all in one hotel, all the teams there, this is what they grew up doing, most of these guys. So I think the comfort level might be different. And then the lack of home court advantage. Home court advantage is big for veteran teams. And because there's no home court advantage, I think that allows younger teams to play better in this environment.
Yeah, I totally see that. And I guess my thing too is like guys like LeBron, which we'll get into in a little bit, like they're dealing with much heavier things right now. I kind of think if you're, a rookie in the league and you're just like, man, I don't know, I play basketball, and Call of Duty when I get back to the hotel, it does feel like they have less on their mind to jump into this bubble.
Yeah, 100%. And, when you have less responsibilities, you're worrying about you. The anxiety that other players are having from, typically you're worrying about, do I have to guard Chris Paul? But now you're worrying about what I eat. Can I talk to this person? Can I play cards in this room? Can I read this book because someone touched it? Then if you have more responsibilities, how are my kids doing at home? How's my wife, my family, my mom, my dad? So the younger you are, the less responsibilities you have. So the less anxiety you may have, possibly, in this environment. I know I have more anxiety than my 23-year-old son right now, for sure.
Right. Yeah, I hope so. I have a 1-year-old, so I tend to think that I have way more neuroses, at least I hope. Back to basketball, you became a bit of a Twitter ratio last week when you placed LeBron as 10th best in the NBA. You've talked about it enough. We're not going to go too deep into it, citing sort of the change in gameplay over the years, a bit of an equalizer. I wanted to ask you, on the other side of things, as a common just watcher of the game and super fan, I see dudes like Zion or Giannis or Dame, and they're kind of these like health specimens. Like, I can't believe they look like that. And then I see my dad's favorite players, and I'm like, these dudes are sticks. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always just shocked at how physical beyond belief the game has become. With the competition being so much tougher than, say, when Wilt scored 100, wouldn't it be almost that LeBron has it harder? Or what am I missing in the expertise of it?
Well, I would say that the athleticism is more on display. I don't think that it's that much more, if you know what I mean. So Michael Jordan was jumping from the free throw line, right? So Zach LaVine says, oh, I saw that. So now I'm going to try to jump from the free throw line and put it between my legs. So, it's just more on display because of the rules as well. Because there's no hand checking and there's no flagrant foul rules. There's no suspension of games. So now you have freedom of movement, which puts your athleticism more on display. It looks very similar if you went to a Rucker game or a pickup game in the 90s, you would see this type of athleticism on display. So we're talking about threads of greatness now, between Kevin Durant and LeBron and Oscar Robertson and Kareem. But I've seen Kareem when he was Kareem, the guy, at his heyday. And it doesn't look much different. And I think that, these guys appear to be, Zion-like. However, on massive around, it's really not, if you were in a Houston Rocket locker room, you saw, the athleticism of Vernon Maxwell, Hakeem Olajuwon, and those guys like that, you go, well, it doesn't look that much different, Sam Cassell looks like Darren Collison, and so like, they're not really that much different. So some of the guys who used to play football now play basketball.
Yeah.
That may be it. But in terms of overall athleticism, not that much different. I think it's just more consistent that these guys jump. But I don't think it's higher. I think they just do it more consistently.